Grilling out in the summer can be fun, but it can be a recipe for disaster if you're not careful. Statistics show fires involving grills peak in July, so now is the perfect time for a little safety advice. Steve Erickson is standing by with the Coon Rapids Fire Marshal with some safety tips.
Well, grilling is a popular summer pastime for many, but it can be dangerous if you're not careful. According to the National Fire Protection Association, an average of 10 people die in the U.S. each year, and 140 people are injured in fires involving grills. Those yearly fires also cause an estimated $75 million in property damage, so knowing how to grill safety could save your life. Joining us today to talk more about grill safety is Todd Williams, the Coon Rapids Fire Marshal. Thanks for joining us today, Todd.
You're welcome, Steve.
First off, before we even fire up the grill, what are some things people should look at?
A couple things you should look at. Let's just talk about some safety stuff, the location of the grill, where you should have it. It should be 10 feet from your house, and it should be away from combustibles, like sheds, your house, your siding and stuff. And make sure around it you have a clear space of a couple feet from your wood railing or anything that is combustible. Then once you look at that, you just want to look at your grill. If you haven't used it for a while, just take a look at the grill, make sure it hasn't got damage from a storm or wind blowing it around. Then once you look at it overall, then you just want to open up the lid, and you just want to check the insides to make sure that there's no birds or any animals that have went into the grill. There is spaces that they can get in. Then you just want to take it apart, and you just want to look at all the burners to make sure that it's not rusted or there's no spider webs or any animals or anything in there. And once that's done, you look at it, then you just want to put everything back together. And we're still not done with the safety check. We still have a couple more things to check. So you want to make sure your dials are all good, make sure they're not damaged, again, from a storm or wind. Then you just want to go down below here, and you just want to make sure your tank is turned off. You just want to look at your hoses, make sure it's not cracked, make sure there's no damage, check it all the way down. Then you just want to tighten, just do a little quick tightening of the line because it might have loosened up since the last time you used it. Then you just want to turn your gas on slowly and wait. You can hear the gas go in there, and you're looking for leaks and trying to smell leaks. You can also take a soap mixture and just kind of put it on the fittings to make sure there's no leaks. And if there is a leak, the soap is going to bubble. Then you just want to turn it off right away and correct it, or get a service person out here to correct it. So once we got it turned on, you just want to look at everything again. Everything looks good. And when you're lighting the grill, you want to make sure that it's open, because if you have it closed, it could build up, and when you light it, it could explode. So you just want to turn the grill on and press your igniter, and you see it lit up really nice there. And then you want to turn on the rest of the grill and just kind of see how it's looking. Everything looks good, everything's lit, and now we're ready to grill.
All right, so we've gone through the safety check, checked all of the items that you just mentioned. What do we need to know now once the grilling has started, once we have the flames here?
When you have the flames here and when you're cooking, it's kind of like how we teach in kitchen safety. You need to stay next to your grill. Then also you need to have same thing as a kitchen, a kid-free zone. So mark off 3 feet around it and tell your kids that this is very hot and you have to stay away from it. The grills get up to about 300, 400, 500 degrees. So if your child touches it right away, you're going to be burnt right away. And another thing is when you're grilling, if you have steaks or chicken or something like that, it has oil or fat that's coming off of it, it could flare up. So that's why you need to stay here by your grill. Because if it flares up, if you're not paying attention, it could catch your grill on fire and could catch your house on fire. So you need to stay with your grill. You can't have an unattended grill.
Okay. Now, obviously, there's two types of grill. We're looking at a gas grill right here. There's also the charcoal grill. Let's first talk about gas grill. Are there some certain things that owners of gas grills need to pay attention to?
Yep. As I said on our safety check, the biggest problem that we have with gas grills, number one, they're the most used. They're popular, and plus you have gas. And that's why it's important to check your gas line, because the problems that we have is there's a leak in your gas line or the fitting, and the gas comes up through the grill, then it catches on fire, then the whole grill's on fire. Or it could be your tank. If there's a little leak on your tank, it could be the opposite. The fire could go down to your tank and your tank could catch on fire. So you just want to, you know, it's important to check your gas line, important to check your tank to make sure it's correctly, there's no leaks, and you need to stay by your grill. Where charcoal grills, we have less accidents, but we still have accidents with charcoal. And the problems that we have with them is that charcoal is, it's burning. So when they burn, they have ashes that fall out. And if you don't have a metal pan underneath there, they could fall onto your wood deck or your grass and catch it on fire. So it's very important that you have something underneath your grill to catch the ashes. And also, after you get done with your charcoals, they need to cool for at least 7 days. If you put them away in a container, make sure it's a metal container. And before you dispose of them, make sure you put water on them and actually stir it up with a shovel or some type of a tool to get the ashes really wet. Because if you put them in your garbage can, that could catch on fire also. But barbecue ashes stay hot for several days after you get done using it. Same thing with the barbecue grill is you need to stay next to it. You need to have a kid-free zone, and you just need to make sure you inspect everything afterwards, make sure there's no embers.
Yeah, and don't think it can't happen to you. We've seen examples before where people have thrown those hot ashes in their garbage can and started their garage and their house on fire.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It happens a lot. We probably have, 10, 15 of those a year where people put ashes in the garbage can, or even cigarette butts in the garbage can, and 2-3 hours later after they do that, it's on catching on fire.
If you're cooking and all of a sudden a fire starts, what should you do?
Well, first of all, Steve, you should stay next to your barbecue grill. That way, if you do have a problem, you can see it happen when the fire is small. If we had a fire in here right now, what you want to do is you want to shut this, and you want to try to reach down safely to turn the gas off. If you can safely do that, turn the gas off, then you can slowly lift this up. Then you can grab your extinguisher and extinguish the fire. But if you stay with your grill, you shouldn't have any problems, because you can notice it when the fire is small, or you notice it when it starts to burn or flare-ups. That's why you need to stay next to your grill.
What happens if you do get burned? I mean, are there precautions you can take ahead of time? And then what happens if you do get burned?
Yep, you should have, when you're cooking, you should have a oven mitt with you. Then when you're pulling stuff off, or turning the hamburgers over, or hot dogs, or the steaks, you have an oven mitt on, and that's going to protect your hands. If you don't have an oven mitt, you could possibly get burnt. Then if you get burnt, you want to call 911 to get medical attention. Several people get burned on barbecue grills just from the flare-ups. They turn the chicken or turn the steak, and the fat just comes off of it and catches a flare-up.
All right, so obviously very important to have a fire extinguisher nearby. We should also mention grilling on decks is not allowed at apartment buildings, correct?
Correct. On any apartment building in Coon Rapids, you cannot grill on your decks. It's very dangerous. Barbecue grills can catch on fire, then you're affecting multiple units, multiple residents. So we do not allow any barbecuing on any deck in apartment buildings or multi-family houses that are stacked in town here.
All right, well, I appreciate it. You provided us a lot of good tips today. If you are getting out those grills, we know the peak time for grilling is July. So that is coming up here, and we appreciate you today talking, and hope everyone out there has a safe grilling season free of injuries.